Hello, welcome back to the combat series, and it's about time that we make air combat. So let me put in the effects and the animation. There's my animations, and this is my effects folder. There's my smoke, there's my shockwave and my ring, and this is my punch animes. It has up tilt and slam. Let me replace the previous punch animes. Let me put in the effects folder here, replace the previous one. There we go. Now in the effects folder we have the knockback and block sound effects, so we don't have to use the ones inside of the hit service module. Let's delete this and let's change this to game.replicated storage.effects folder. There we go. I'll put this instead of a different function. Local function knockback check knockback C and humanoid return true. So if this doesn't return true, then the character is blocking. Here this is way too long, so let's just do something like this. If C blocking, then if knockback, then paste this here, paste this here, return. There we go. It's much shorter now because it doesn't have any unnecessary if-else statements. Now we can do something like this. Local not block equals knockback check knockback C and the humanoid. So if not blocking, then we can put this script instead of here, but let's just do something like this. If not block, then return end. Okay, now let's get into the air combat stuff. Let's go to the combat table, and I'm going to be adding the properties that I'm going to be using, like jumping is false, up tilting equals false, on air equals false, slamming equals false. Now let's add in another mode event for jumping. Rename this to jump event. Go to the local script. We could do something like this. Else if key.keycode equals enum.keycode space, then but this only prints the space once. It only detects it once. So we have to do something like this. If user input service is key down enum.keycode.space, then print holding space. So let's try this out. Oh no, this is annoying. Okay, so holding space keeps printing. Well, the space just prints once. Alright. I think I'm going to be using a different event though. I'm going to be using something that's called user input service dot jump request. So this fires whenever you jump. I'll make a new variable, local jump remote game replicate storage with a child, and fire this remote. And I also want my character to have a delay when jumping, like it's going to stay on the ground for 0.1 seconds and then it jumps. But let me reference the character and the humanoid first. I'll do humanoid.jump height equals 0, dash.weight 0.1.15, humanoid.jump height equals 7.2. Alright, now let me disable the dummy spawn. Let's go to the combat server and let's make a new remote variable, jump remote. Let's also require the combat table. Jump remote on servant connect function player. Make a new variable for character value. Character value dot jumping equals true. Let's do a wait 0.15. Character value dot jumping equals false. Now we can now head over to the combat script. Combat manager. There we go. Now here we can do something like this. If cv.combo is smaller than self.max combo, if it's not anything but the max combo, and if it's jumping, if the character is jumping, then the character is up tilting. The character is going to set up tilted true. It's going to set up tilted true, and let's do a delay 0.2 maybe function and set it back to false. So it gets a 0.2 second time frame to M1. And then else if cv.combo equals self.max combo and cv.onAir, then it's going to start slamming. So when you're on the air and you're on the last hit, then you can slam down. I also want it so that when you're not on the air, but if you jump on the last hit, you can also do a slam down. So let's do or cv.combo equals self.max combo and cv.jumping equals true. We don't need this. Then we can set the slamming to true. And let's also make a new property here for up tilt animation and slam animation, because let's say your animation folder doesn't have an up tilt anim and slam anim, then you can't really slam, you can really play the slam animation because you don't have the animations. So we can just set it to a single animation, another folder. Like my sword animation, for example, I don't have a slam anim. I only have it inside of the punch anims folder. There we go. Now let's change the animation to animation equals humanoid load animation self up tilt anim. Is it anim? Oh, I forgot to add in a comma. There we go. Set it to lowercase a. Tilt anim. Animation equals humanoid load animation self.slam anim. There we go. Let's see if this works. Okay. 4. Yeah, it works. Now we can head over to hit service and create a new module, fling handler. We're going to make a few functions. Function module.drop, module.fling, module.slam, character character. Let's make a new variable for the root part, character dot humanoid root part. Let's add in a few properties as well, like the guard bake, like the knockback and the y. Make a new variable called bp root part find first child air position. So my body position is going to be named air position, and it checks if there's already a body position, and if there are already a body position, then we can set the position to its original position plus the guard break, the knockback I meant. So the first hit would just knock them up, but the second, third, and fourth hit would knock them back while on the air, of course. If there is no body position, then we're going to create a new one, body position. bp.name equals air position, bp.maxForce, factory.new, math.huge, bp.position equals rp.position plus factory.new 0 y 0. So y will be, the default value of y will be 15. I'm adding a y parameter because let's say the character is jumping and the character is higher than the enemy, right? So that means the attacker is going to be higher when they're flanked. So there needs to be a way to decrease the y of the attacker. So that's why I added a parameter here. Now let's set the parent to the root part. Let's add in task.delay, maybe 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds, 3.5, and drop the character. Let's copy this, paste it in drop. We don't need the body. Actually, no, we do. We don't need the y. We don't need the else. We just need to destroy the bp. bp destroy. Now in slam, we do the same thing. We do not need the y, but we don't need the else as well. And we just destroy the bp, and we add a new body velocity. Local bv was instance.new body velocity. bv.maxForce was factory.new 1 times math.huge. bv velocity equals rp.cframe up vector times minus 100. Yeah, so it goes down to 150. And bv.parent equals report game.b and item bv.1. Okay, let's require a new module, local combat table, game.storage of the modules. Now we can make a character value. We're going to set the on-air property, on-air value. Yep. Character value dot on-air equals false. True, this is true, and this is false. There we go. Now in the set service, let's make a new parameter called fling slam. So if guard break, if knockback and not fling and not slam, then it's going to do this. Else if fling, then it's going to get the fling handler. Hold on, Let me require the fling handler. Script.fling handler. Fling handler. Fling the character. We don't have a character. We don't have a character variable. So let's just do this. Put this here. Character. Fling character. And knockback, right? Character and the knockback and the Y. Okay. The Y, I'm not going to add in Y. I'll do that in a combat script. Else if slam then fling hunter dot slam character, that's all. Now we just go to the combat manager. Local fling slam, add in the new variables, put it in here. We're going to do the same thing as this. Now let's do something like this. If cv dot absoluting, then fling equals true, but this would only fling the enemy, not the attacker. So we're going to do something like this. Going to require fling handler. There we go. Fling handler dot fling the character and the knockback, right? The knockback and the Y. The Y would be 15 for now. Let's also add in a new variable called ERP, root part, enemy root part, from dot root part. EY, the enemy is Y, because we're going to check the difference between the two Y's. Look, Y difference. Root part dot position dot Y, and it's enemy Y. If our Y is bigger than their Y, then we're going to decrease our Y with the Y difference. Else if root part dot position dot Y is smaller than EY, then Y will be incremented with the difference. So there we go, adding the Y here. Else if cv dot slamming, then slam equals true, and let's do a delay. That's a delay 0.3 function module dot drop the character. There we go. Let's see if this works. Let's see. Up tilt. Okay, attempt to call a nil value. It's supposed to be fling handler dot drop, my bad. When I print the fling and slam, it only prints once for the fling, and I know why. That's because I'm checking if the character done. I'm checking if the character is up tilting, not if the character is on air. So I have to do both, or cv.on air and not cv.slamming. There we go. Let's see if this works now. Yep, there's a bug again. It's because I've not set the slamming to false. That's why. Okay, now after this is fixed, I'm also going to be adding another thing to make the character not collide with the dummy, like this. Alright, so let me add in another thing. You don't have to do this, I'm just adding it to clean this up, organize stuff. Okay, so I'm going to be making a new collision group. Every single part has a default collision group right here, as you can see. Collision group. There's the collision group. See, default. Now I'm going to be adding a new collision group called player. Player cannot collide with player. So I want the player to not collide with each other, but I want them to collide with the ground and such. If I set their can collide to false, they'll just fall off the ground. So let me make a new script. For space. Right? So it checks every single character in every single pre-existing character, which means every single dummy that's not added to the game. If loops through their character and checks if it's a part or a mesh part or a part, and it's set the collision group to player. It's pretty simple. Let's do the same thing. Actually, no, let's do workspace added. After this, let's make the effects. As you can see, I cannot collide with dummy now. Let's make the effects. Let's do it in a local script, because I'm going to do a lot of tweening. Client effects. Okay, let's make a new event. Effects event. Color amount. Let's make function. Shockwave. Ring. Actually no. Let's do slam. There we go. So in shockwave, we're going to make a new folder. Shockwave folder. The train. Let's make a new shockwave sphere. Set in the position for P position. Then we can create twin service. Okay. Just create shockwave for ring. Twin info dot new. The duration I'll do 0.65. And the goal size equals size equals filter 3 dot new here where c equals 1. Play, and don't forget to play the sound. Which sound is it again? I don't need this. Is it big explosion? Yep, it's this. Clone. Let's do folder. Let's do 4 seconds. And now let's put in the arc for slam. Alright. So I'm going to be needing a few things. The position, ray position, because I'm going to be using ray casting. That's it actually. Yeah, amount. There we go. So let's make a new folder again. Folder.name. I'll set it to slam folder. Actually, no. Slam impact. Amount to, it's going to loop through the amount. I'm going to create a part. Part.material equals array instance material. Part.color equals array instance color. Part.position equals array position. Part. It's the collision group to player. So I don't want it to collide with the player. Alright. Now I can make a new body velocity. I'm going to, this is the flying part, the flying debris. I want it to go to random directions. Because I'm not going to do -50 because I don't want to go below the ground. For seconds, and after this I'm going to add in, what am I going to add? Oh, the smoke. Alright. We did set the color to color sequence dot new, because particles don't use color 3, they use color sequence. And I'll just put in the color 3. Ray instance dot color. I'll do anchor equals true. Let's do the sound again. Effects, game, storage, effects folder, slam, play. Alright, so let's do type, effects type, and the arguments. If effects type equals shockwave, then fire the shockwave function, call the shockwave function, and put in the argument. Else, if effects type equals slam, is it called slam? Yeah, I'll just do. Then slam, put in the arguments. There we go. Now we'll have to do some stuff in the hit service. Let's get the remote. Effects remote. Let's also create a new variable for run service. First, I'm going to call the shockwave function. I'm going to fire to all clients and put in the type, the effects type, which is shockwave, and the argument, which is root part at position. Then I'll do something like this. Let's make a new variable called connection. I'm making this so I could use .heartbeat, so I could disconnect this. Then let's create an array. I cast the origin would be the root part dot cframe dot position. Yep, dot position. Direction rp dot cframe dot up vector times -4. So it's going to check for his feet, for its feet. And the 4.5. Right as params. Okay, let's make the params, circuit params. Params equals local blacklist. Okay, so let's loop through the blacklist. Let's loop through the workspace. Insert the character to the table. Table blacklist character. Let's do nil because it tells me to do nil. Then I'll do params equals raycast params new params dot filter type and dot filter type. I guess filter type of blacklist. Then I can do filter the silent instances equals blacklist. Put in the params here so it doesn't attack the players. Frame and disconnect the loop so it doesn't keep looping. So this loops every single so this loops once every, so this loops 60 times per second, and heartbeat loops every single, so the heartbeat event fires every single physical frame. Is that what it's called? 60 times per second. It depends on your FPS. I don't know. I forgot. And if ray, then remote effects remote fire all clients type slam and the arg which is table. The argument would be something like, let me check again, array position equals array dot position array instance amount. I'll set it to 12. Table expected value. Oh yeah, my bad. It's supposed to be a table. There we go. I forgot to clone this. Okay, hold on. Let me clone this. Let's set the size to 1.3 maybe 1 2.5 1 2.5 1.2.5. I forgot to tell you this, but you need to do this part.cframe equals part.cframe plus cframe dot times cframe dot angles math.random. Yeah, just do this math.random 30 50 math.random 30 50 math.random 30 50 so that it has so that the position is randomized, because before it looks complete garbage. Now it looks pretty decent actually. And set this to minus 30 instead of 50, minus 50 50, so it doesn't knock back too far. Now it looks like this. Pretty cool, right? Not as bad as before. There's that bug. Yeah, so sometimes the bug happens, sometimes the bug does not happen. I do not know how to replicate it. Alright, this is it for this video. Thank you and see you next time.